can't be talking about.
No. Episode 3. Look, if people listen to the first 2 episodes, it's all been poop stories.
Yeah, we gotta have a poo-less podcast.
Yeah, this isn't a poo cast. Welcome to Some People Like Us, a podcast for bozos, ding-dongs, ne'er-do-wells.
What's a ne'er-do-well?
Like you never do well. But
okay.
It's like one of those old-timey
N-E apostrophe,
yes.
Ne'er-do-well.
Yes.
Damn. I'm a ne'er-do-well for sure then.
You know, a hooligan, a goon, just troublemakers. My name is Ian. I'm joined by my co-host, Dito. Oh,
not
he said
here.
no.
Not even here.
Sometimes I worry about that. Sometimes
no, I'm here.
I think that maybe you're like the Hobbes to my Calvin. Like I just needed a friend like you so bad that I've imagined.
We could put an ampersand between us and hug each other.
I mean, definitely that. We could both like take a leak on the Ford logo or something. But no,
wait. I didn't even realize that was Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes.
What?
I had no idea.
Oh my word!
Thank you for filling me in on that.
Maybe it's just the Cedar Lake boy in me. I was so ingrained in that fucking hill jack culture.
Calvin and Hobbes is totally Cedar Lake.
No, not Calvin and Hobbes. The graphic of Calvin peeing on things that you don't like.
Right.
That is like a hillbilly. Anything you don't like,
I must have been a hillbilly then, because I had one at one point.
Did you? What was it peeing on?
Fish.
Oh my god!
I'm just kidding.
Oh my god! No, what was it? Did you? See,
No, I made that up.
I could. That's why I was shocked, and I was like, "What was he peeing on? Prove it, dude." Because I could tell you if they make it or not.
I have seen that though. Jerry pissing on the fish logo.
Why the hate? Why, bands that I don't even like.
I feel like it's so 90s to hate on, to despise a band.
Actively make a personality around not liking a band. Like even fucking Nickelback jokes or something. It's like,
right.
It more reflects on your personality that you would take enough time to focus on that thing that you don't like.
Absolutely. Well, it's just like in the 90s, you had the punks who hated Jerry and hated the hippies, and it didn't really make sense.
Yeah, just that you need... How stupid are you that you need to go out of your way to talk about and focus on something that you don't like? There's so many things that I don't like in the world that I'm like, yeah, why would I even mention it? I don't like it enough that I'm going to avoid even thinking about it. Like, I hate Bon Jovi. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I was beaten to Bon Jovi as a child, but it is the only band that physically makes me ill. Mm-hmm. I hear it and I retch a little bit. I don't know what it is, but I wouldn't wear a t-shirt that says fuck Bon Jovi, because then I'm thinking about Bon Jovi while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't share a meme that made some joke about Bon Jovi, because then I'm thinking about Bon Jovi, but I'm also perpetuating other people thinking about it. What do you gain?
Not much.
Not much. But
Just got to focus on the things that you love. Probably
right.
is the moral of the story.
Focus on things like our new Some People Like Us merch store will be launching soon with Fuck Bon Jovi t-shirts. And hey, I'm not going to wear it, but I like making money.
Can't wait for that I Hate Tom Petty fucking sweatshirt. Christmas
You can't
sweater.
see, that's a problem. You can't speak ill of the dead.
I was thinking he was alive when I said it.
Because he's alive in all of us, in our hearts. Oh, Tommy. Dude, honestly, that's one of the people that, like, I was never a crazy Tom Petty fan, but I was at summer camp the year that Mudcrutch played. And I was like,
Mudcrutch.
Mudcrutch was like his band he was in before the Heartbreakers and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But then, like, it must have been 2017 or, yeah, probably 2017. He, like, got that band back together and they played at summer camp. And I was like, it was like after Prince and Bowie had died, and just when those two died in the same year, I made the conscious decision of, if I ever, I need to make a point of seeing my heroes. Like, I went and saw Paul Simon after that, and that ended up being Paul Simon's last tour. Like, it was great that I made that decision before that happened, because Paul Simon tickets aren't cheap, and I'm typically playing shows when shows are happening, but I was like, nope, I'm making time, I'm paying the money, I'm going to see that.
Right.
But I was at summer camp, and Tom Petty was playing with Mudcrutch, and I was, like I said, respect him, but I'm not like, I have a Tom Petty shirt or a poster or something, but I consciously was like, well, you know, that would be a good person to be able to, at the end of my line, say I saw live. And I went, and I was, you know, I was
got
all fucked up and
Mudcrutched.
shit, right? I can't say I really soaked in the whole experience and my life was changed, but I can. And then the following year, I think, like, passed away, and I was like, well, at least if anyone ever brings up Tom Petty, I can be like, oh, I saw him. Maybe my kids one day will.
You made me remember that I saw him that year too. Well, I didn't see him. It was from my campsite, and I was like, free falling.
Good enough.
Fuck yeah,
Right,
free
yeah.
falling.
Dude, that, honestly, I regret it now. Honestly, I don't regret it because it wasn't a conscious decision. Why can't I say decision today? So I'll just try to go out of my way to not have to. Mm-hmm. But
Choices. Use the word choices.
I was on my second day of being on mushrooms all day at Bonnaroo, and Radiohead. My camp was on the other side of a fence, and then the main stage was there.
Okay.
So, like, already all weekend I had been catching bands that I wasn't meaning to catch, because
you just hang out at your campsite and might as well be riding the rail.
And it was, it was night on maybe, Friday or Saturday, and I had been going all day, and I was like tripping balls, and I did want to go to that set, but I could already hear, I was basically at it, just on the other side of a chain link fence, and I remember, like, hearing it start and being like, oh, I gotta go to that. And I was like, I'm at it. just sat where I was.
You're like, oh, I need to go. Oh no, I am there.
Yeah. It's like this fence isn't really changing much of it's not like I'm gonna fight through the crowd and rail ride at the front of the Bonnaroo Radiohead show. I'm gonna be standing right there in the same field I'm already in, just on the other side of a fence. Did
you also cry at the Radiohead show? Because when I saw Radiohead, I cried.
I had a panic attack at Feist. It was like full daylight, but like I said, basically from the time I showed up to Bonnaroo to the time I left, I was on mushrooms the entire time. But at the Feist set,
you're in luck. Reach under your seat, buddy.
You get a panic attack, and you get a panic attack. But so the girl I was with, you know, she's like, I want to go see Feist, and it was a daytime set and hot Tennessee sun.
Remind me who Feist is. Like,
I think she had a song on a Apple commercial.
that's not. No, I need. Sing it to me real quick.
I don't remember the one that's on the Apple. There are a couple Feist songs, and that was the problem. There are a couple of her songs that I do really love that like aren't quite that famous, but I know the famous one. I was like, fuck that song. So anyways, we go to this set and we're like waiting for it to start, and this guy next to us is peeling and then eating an orange. And this is how I knew I was tripping really hard. I just like watched him peel it and eat it. And I was like, you fucking animal. Like it just looks so, every part of it looks so gross to me. And it was just a dude peeling an orange, you know, but I was like, ugh, already hating everything. So then her set starts and she is very ambient and melodic and, you know, airy, very, you know, pretty girl, like cool band, like everything about it should have been like peaceful and pleasant. But since it was so, I was just like, I could hear my thoughts. And I was wearing khaki shorts. And in my mind, my ass was sweating so profusely, it looked like I wet my pants. Like I was like, and anyone who was from my eye line back in the crowd, a giant Bonnaroo Festival crowd, they all were looking at my swass and like, what an embarrassment. I don't know.
Ruined Feist for you.
But so I turned to the girl that I'm with, I'm like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. And she was like, okay, let's go. And we walked through this whole crowd, find our way out, and like walk a good distance and find a set of porta potties. And as I'm like going up to open the door, I turn to her and I'm like, I don't really have to go to the bathroom. I was just like freaking out. And she goes, okay, well, why didn't you just say that? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, well, do you want to like go back to camp for a little bit and chill out? And I was like, that sounds great.
So it's like home base, you know, you feel like, okay.
But then at Bonnaroo, all of the stages point toward a center. They call it Centeroo. So all of them go to one center area where there's just people. So we have to walk through that to get back to our camp. And I'm walking and I like shoulders drawn in, like my hands cupped on either side of my face and looking at the ground, just like trying not to look at anyone, just pushing through people. And in my mind, I start hearing, move, bitch, get out the way. And I'm like, yeah, get out the way, bitch, get out the way. And then I realized that we're actually walking past the stage that Ludacris is playing on. And that like, was actually happening. And I was like, he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. And dude, it like took me out of this bad trip and I fought my way into the crowd at the Ludacris set. She was all of a sudden like, what the fuck? We were just walking back to camp. And all of a sudden I'm like, get out the way, bitch, get out the way.
You're like, I know that this is what I need right now. You don't know that this is what you need right now.
And, and also I knew even if everything I thought before was true, no one's looking at my sweaty ass at the Ludacris set, dude. There's energy on stage, baby. Right. Like, it changed my life. But
Ludacris saved you.
Absolutely. But that is one of those things that afterward I thought back and like about the girl, like watching me go through that range of emotions. Mm-hmm. And even though it ended up good, that's the way it ended up good is, you know, because it was one of those things that afterward I was like, that was kind of
ridiculous.
Yeah. That's why you look at me in that way now. You know, that moment, I've known me my whole life, so I knew that was the best possible way that moment could have ended. But when when you know someone else, only they might know you quite well, but only
In
have so much
that-
information about me. And you saw me go through that, which was one of the silliest moments of my life. You have a very specific idea.
I feel like mushrooms has that power too, where it can go in like complete either direction.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make this a drug podcast, but like I've had experiences.
And
Yeah, here we are. But no, I've had experiences where it's completely like I'm not having a good time right now, to the point where whoever I'm next to knows I'm not having a good time right now, and she's trying to help me through it and says, embrace it. And I took that the absolute wrong way. I'm
embrace
like,
that I'm hating this and feel like an idiot?
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know? And I had to go back to camp. But then I've also had those moments where it's like, this is why I'm alive.
Yeah, this is exactly what I needed right now.
Right. Like, this is what allows me to keep fucking trying to thrive.
Yeah. I mean, but to some extent, drugs related or not, that is kind of my existence. Is like,
Like,
doing
even without all that.
like doing things that I'm like, this is what I need to do, or this is what I would like to do, or this is what I would think is funny. But all the while, like almost from an outsider's perspective, watching someone else that, you know, like I met someone at my show tonight. They really like me and stuff. And then I do something that I think is funny. And for all intents and purposes, everything you've seen about me, this is in line with. But they don't like it. Or take, you know, they're like, that's not funny or something. Oh, well, that one bit, now forever, you're going to think, that's the part that you're going to think of and be like, oh, Ian, he's that guy that did blah, blah, blah. You know, like.
This is where we differ. I think that any moment anybody like thinks something like that, I'm like, no, they're not even going to remember this.
I agree I don't think everybody overanalyzes as much as me, but I think even subconsciously, because
Okay.
I have
I see
people
what you mean.
that I'm not crazy about, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, why am I not crazy about that person? And then I think about it, and then it is something dumb and little like that I didn't make the conscious decision when they did that. Said it again, kind of pulled it off that time.
Mm-hmm.
But that, oh, they did this, now I feel this way about them. But part of my brain, when I see them, I'm like, oh, don't get too close to that guy,
right,
or whatever, you know. I don't know. I think it's good to
It's good. It's good to not judge people, but also at the same time, like that's why we have intuition in a way. It's like because am I taking it too deep?
No,
I'm sorry.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Is like I'm not judging you. It's just human nature that part of me remembers some, you know. So not even that I'm talking shit about other people in that situation. I just try to think about that for myself.
Yeah.
You know, there are things that I'm like, okay, if this is the only thing this person remembers about me, I try to avoid doing that thing that someone's going to, you know, look back on and be like, oh, that one thing is, I don't know, that might be enough to change my opinion. Which kind of is the subject of our anonymous story tonight. You know, if sometimes best intentions,
Mm-hmm.
you think, oh, this is going to be a home run. And then you look back on it and you're like, that was the worst thing I could have done in that situation. And this is one of the best examples that I've ever heard of someone thinking,
this is
wow,
fine, but in retrospect,
not only this is fine, but there's like an artistic vision behind it and stuff. You think, what could
go wrong?
What's not to like about this? So yeah, our good buddy Chuck is gonna divulge his tale to you. All right. Well, we have our anonymous storyteller here with us, Mr. Chuck Bellflur. How are you doing today, Chuck?
I'm doing great, Ian. Thanks for having me on.
We appreciate you coming. So, what is your tale you have to tell us today, my friend? What do you want to get off your chest?
Okay, yeah, this has been weighing on me for a long time.
Let it out.
Yeah, gotta let somebody know. So, about, let's say 13 to 15 years ago, we're playing at a festival with my band, who I'll keep anonymous. Anyway, so we're playing at this festival, and they booked us for 2 different sets, right? One during the day and one at night.
Yeah.
And our band liked to do themes when we played these festival slots. So we dress a certain way, or we'd build sets. We'd do crazy
right,
things.
you're at a festival and you're trying to make your set memorable, So what are we gonna do?
Exactly. We wanted people to remember it and have something to talk about. So, maybe we're low on ideas at this point in our career, but
and especially if it is the summer and you've had like multiple festivals lined up, at this point, and you're like, all right, nobody put any fucking time into this. Sure, here,
Right.
whatever.
So we needed to keep it, simple enough. But so we came to the conclusion that because we're playing a nighttime and a daytime set, we do this yin yang thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, well, how do we express this? Well, we'll just, we'll do it in the way we dress. Simple enough, right? So we decide, the daytime set, we're all black, and the nighttime set, we're all white. So we'll kind of go opposite.
Yeah.
So we actually did the nighttime set first. I might be remembering this wrong, just so if anybody corrects me down the line.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was a long
It's
time
okay.
ago. Anyways, we do the set. We're wearing all white, and we actually decided we're going to wear body paint. So we body paint ourselves white.
Oh, no.
Everything, our face, everything. It's a bit of a mess because you end up with white paint all
And
over
you're
your
right,
guitar,
and you're sweating with the
Yeah.
pain. Yeah.
It's not the most comfortable thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically, we all bought matching white pants. We all wore just like white T-shirts. We painted our arms and faces white, and then we had white do-rags that we bought. So everything was white. No hair, nothing. All's fine. And then the next day comes to do the daytime set. We're wearing all black. And
Sounds hot.
it's the same basic thing, right? So we're getting ready for the show, and
And
we're putting
this already, I can see where this is going and
Yeah.
why it's problematic.
See where it's
But
going. Yeah,
the
yeah.
best part is you have to imagine that some people that will see you the second day did not see the previous day.
Right.
So they don't know that this is a yin yang.
They don't know the thing. There's not very. We haven't done a great job. Of
It's
making
not
this
like you
very obvious.
announced it either.
No,
that,
I don't think we did. So, anyways, and obviously, where this is going. But so we're putting on all of our black clothing. We put on all of our black paint, like our hands, everything, and then our faces, and then we put on our black do rags.
The do-rags too. What a touch.
Right, that wasn't the original idea, but that was the best thing we could come up with that we could all be uniform on. And then we get a golf cart ride. And I'm on this golf cart with a couple of guys, and the guy, I think the guy driving, or maybe it's just somebody we passed up. It was a black gentleman, and it occurred to me. Now, this should have occurred to me
Prior, yeah.
weeks before. We planned this for at least 2
When
weeks.
you
This
were
all-
buying black face paint,
Yeah.
you should have been like, wait.
It was like jet black, black, It really just hadn't occurred to. There's 6 of us in this band, and people we know and love. We've told about this. Nobody has brought up this particular problem.
Yeah.
Right.
And until I look over and I get this look from this guy, and it hits me all in a second. I'm wearing a do-rag.
And this is on your way to the stage,
Yeah,
right?
we're on our way to the
Oh,
stage. And I
God.
literally painted black. I was like, sunglasses, or at least I feel anonymous. And we go ahead and play our set, and literally nobody says anything to us. And it's never actually been a problem for anyone. But internally, at that moment, when I made that realization, I was like, well, this is kind of a problem for me.
Yeah.
But it's too late. And I'm hoping people will look at this and go, oh, well, no, this is what they're trying to do, but it's 2021, and there are pictures of this event, and I feel it's going to come back.
You're
to
just
haunt me
waiting
one day.
for it to bubble to the surface.
Yeah, nobody's mentioned anything. Even the other guys in the band, I don't think really had a lot to say about it. But yeah, I don't know how that one got by my radar there.
It's one of those things, though. Like,
that with a camp of that many people, nobody like vetted the situation. Was like, wait. You mean that? It's going to kind of look like we're going in blackface, right?
And like I said, nobody at the festival said anything. Nobody we talked to after. I've never really heard anything about it.
Maybe everyone else just thought you guys were like a hard ass Aryan racist band, and they were like, "Well, I'm not going to be the one to tell them."
right.
Maybe they gotten the point because a lot of the people who did see us probably wanted to.
Oh,
So they'd
most
seen the
people
other
were
set.
just like, "Oh, yin yang."
Exactly. We did the all white thing. So we also played in whiteface. I don't know if that makes it better, but we did unintentionally.
Yeah, your intentions were pure, but
it really, it was.
Absolutely.
If anything, we were culturally appropriating the Asian. Folks, that's would have been.
The yin yang, yeah.
Like
I thought this was like a geisha thing.
With the white,
yeah.
He's like, when we did the white face, we also had low red lips. And
what? As a matter of fact, I feel like since I expect this to come back and haunt me, I just want to. Can we turn off the?
Turn off the effect. You don't want to be.
I want to just come out and say it.
You want to own it?
I'm going to own this.
My name is Mark Adrian. I played in a band called Groovatron, and we apologize for our insensitivity, but
It
our
was
intentions
purely
were not
that you
bad.
guys are stupid.
We're just very dumb.
We're not racist. We're just stupid.
We were probably drinking. Does that help? No, I'm
Aggressively.
not supposed to say that.
No. Honestly,
No excuses. We're just dumb.
Anytime
everyone to
you
know
do something
that we
unintentionally
didn't-
racist and you're like, I was drunk, that kind of
That
makes
makes
it a
worse.
little more
That makes it worse.
intentional.
No, I have no excuse other than it just hadn't occurred to us.
Wow. You know what? This is, it's
I
only
feel
our
better.
third episode, but this is the first person
yeah.
that had the balls to just, I don't need to be anonymous. I'm going to go ahead and cancel myself.
I'm canceling myself. Phil, a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. It's worth it. I'll learn to do something else.
Yeah, let's put our hands together.
All
for
right,
it.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being on Chuck Bellflur, a.k.a. Mark Adrian. You're a braver man than most, because other people would have just been like sending messages to the people who have those pictures and be like, you gotta delete those. This can never come out.
Label those Joe Marcinek Band or something.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make it my profile pic.
Really lean into it. Like, look, I'll be the first one
I'll
to admit
accept it.
This was problematic.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That is a good story, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Love you, bud.
Hello, fans of Some People Like Us. My name is Sean, and I am one of the behind-the-scenes guys over here at Fishhook Studios. The others are also named Sean, and we're all Seans here at Fishhook Studios. I'm in your earwaves today to explain to you how Nobody Podcasts work. How does this whole thing work, right? Well, the thing is that Some People Like Us, as well as Fishhook Studios, is sponsored by HempStreets. HempStreets is an online retailer for all things CBD. A PBM, which was one of my original podcasts, was originally sponsored by HempStreets. It was the very first podcast that had the sponsorship. And now we've carried that over to Fishhook Studios, and we've carried that over to Some People Like Us. And just want to give you a little tidbit of information. HempStreets is an online retailer for all things CBD. If you're looking for oils, they have it. If you're looking for creams, they have it. If you're looking for pet products, they have it. They have smokable flour. They even have cartridges of CBD. Go to HempStreets.com and at checkout, use offer code HOOK to receive 15% off your entire purchase. I'm sure you all like CBD. And we like doing these podcasts, and we like keeping the mechanisms of the Northwest Indiana vocal tunes to keep on pumping out a bunch of gooberish nonsense and loving podcast that we try to do here over at Fish Hook Studios. Use offer code HOOK to receive 15% off all things CBD over at HempStreets.com. Now, let's get back to the fucking show.
All right. Well, we have our local hero musician guest in here with us, Mr. Joe Marcinek.
Hi, Ian and Brandon and
Hi, Joe.
listeners.
Hi, Joe.
What's up, y'all? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for doing this. Joe and I, we got a lot of history together.
Go way back.
We played in Fresh Hops together for many years, and we've gotten into a lot of goofy, silly situations together. And so I'm glad to have you on here and have an opportunity to talk to you.
No, this is cool you guys are doing this. And I think I can take credit for bringing you into the band. Wasn't I the one who called you?
You were. So
Yeah, I want to hear this story.
Fresh
actually.
Hops hosted a Tuesday night jam night at Finnegan's. And okay, so here's the whole story. I don't even know.
So you were born.
I don't. Yeah. So
Let's go way back.
My mom and dad both made an awful decision and made me. No, but so I was playing in a like a 90s
What was the name of the band?
Slippery Hank.
Slippery Hank.
And all the musicians were good, it paid better than what eventually I ended up in.
Sorry about that part.
That's because it's our area and it was covers and stuff, so people are more willing to take a chance on that or just give you a guarantee on like, oh well, if I know you're gonna play
Chris
songs
Cornell?
people know, right? Totally. But so one year one of the guys in the band, his wife was on the board of trustees for the city of Crown Point.
Oh, I thought you were going to say The View.
She's canceled now, but so we would always
Whoopi
get
Goldberg?
on like for the Taste of Crown Point or the Corn Roast. Like we would always
that's
get
where
on
it
those
was.
gigs.
Oh, okay.
And so, but the Taste we played, and there were two stages on either side of the square.
Yeah.
So we're playing on one side, Slippery Hank, and my mom and aunt, like I see them walk away during my set. And then after my set, unbeknownst to me, Fresh Hops was playing on the other side at the same time.
On like the steps, right? That
Yeah,
wasn't. It
yeah.
wasn't even in the street then.
No, right. So
Yeah.
they, after my set, they come up to me and they're like, yeah, we just saw this band on the other side of the square. And they're like, they were really cool. Like, it was like...
Wait, this
it was
is how they greet you after your
Yes.
set? Oh,
Like,
God.
we left your band.
and they're like, my mom and aunt are huge Fish fans and stuff. So they were like, it was like really cool music and shit. But so I didn't know who you guys were. And also,
Like
I had just played a set. They
2009,
weren't like...
2010 maybe.
Yeah, probably like 2000.
So we were probably up to like the 6 or 7 piece.
Oh, yeah. But so,
horns and all kinds of
Percussion.
stuff.
not
Yeah.
knowing you guys and also having just played a set, I was like, fuck those dudes. I was like, we're the cool band
These
here,
chumps.
whatever. And then a couple months after that, like a mutual friend had been like, oh, you should come to this jam night. It's like the kind of stuff you want to play and whatever,
Heady
And I was
music.
like, oh, those guys though. So it's just still.
You still hadn't heard
So,
us
like-
at this point though?
Like
No,
already
right,
in
but-
your mind, you're like,
Just right.
I'm not even looking up their MySpace
Because
page.
it was my competition seemingly that day, even though not really, but also that, I wasn't thrilled about playing covers, period. It wasn't anything against the band I was in, but just I've always written songs and I've always wanted to be in a jam band. And even that band, I was like, let's play originals. And they were like, well, we'll make a name for ourselves and get like 40 covers under our belt.
Right.
And then 40 covers came and they were like, well, like 50 covers. And I was like, oh, I get it,
2 more Rolling Stones.
But so they told me about the jam night and I was like, I don't know. And then I finally went and
It was madness.
and I loved it. And I got up there and first of all, Stefan immediately left the stage because I was like, do you guys know any Fish songs?
Oh, yeah.
Stefan was like, fuck Fish. So I think I went to 3 of your guys' jam nights, and every single time Stefan would leave the stage, he was like, "Oh, this guy's back, the fish guy." So before I joined Fresh Hops, never like had a conversation with
Don't
Stefan
like that guy.
whatsoever. Totally. But but the first time I did finally go to the jam night, and my kid's mom can attest to this. Literally on the ride home, I turned to her and I was like, "That's the fucking band I need to be in." But I was like, but the guitar player and the bass player, my 2 main instruments, I was like, they're brothers.
Yeah.
So neither
Bass
one
player's
of
never
them are
leaving.
leaving the band. And now both of them left the band.
Yeah.
but
Let alone
you know,
a year later, they're both gone.
right. So, but even that being said, the 3 times that I did go, I think Mardo is really the only one that like actively talked to me over and over again, you know. And I had like one conversation with you, and it was right when you guys had gotten back from a Colorado tour, and I saw it online, and I was like, "Hey, how'd the tour go?" And you were like, "Fucking sucked. Dave couldn't make it, so I had to play bass the whole time."
And then we blew out the bass amp like the second or third gig, and so we had to use the keyboard amp half the time. It was so bad.
And so
and you had to play bass
And
too?
I was using a pick.
Yeah, because at the time, it
Canceled.
was even when I joined, the other guitar player, Matt Van Blyman, was still in the band. So it was 2 guitars.
Well, I would do
bass,
keyboards
but then-
and guitar in the beginning. Me and Brian would kind of switch off on keys or guitar and
Brian
sax.
Boros, sax player.
And then, yes, when Dave left, it was like, what do we do now? And obviously, since I wrote the tunes, I like knew the chords. So kind of got forced in that role for a little bit while we were having like guest people sit in. Like Hanchar did a couple. And I think, what was the first time? Was it Duffy's that you came out and sat in for like
so that
set?
that time at Finnegan's, I was like, "How was Colorado?" And you were like, "Fucking suck." And not to, you know, I wasn't like, "Oh, that guy didn't go on a tour, kick him out and I'll be your bass player." I literally was like, "Well, if that ever, like a scheduling conflict like that happens again, just let me know and I'll come fill in for the run or whatever." And then a couple, maybe like 2 or 3 months after that, I was working at a grocery store at the time, and I worked in like the service desk. So all the other cashiers.
Is that the one next to Wise Guys in Crown Point?
Yeah. So all the other cashiers would leave, and I was the only. I would just be like sitting in a big empty grocery store until midnight, like listening to fucking, you know, Mariah Carey on the overheads PA system and hating my life. And Joe sends me this message, and he's like, "Hey, would you want to come sit in with us sometime?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool." And he goes, "Okay, great. We have a show tomorrow at Duffy's." And then he sends me a list of like 23 songs. Most of them are originals that I had to find on like archive.org.
Yeah.
And they're all like
clear recordings.
and never like, they're all like crazy orchestrations, never the same change twice, you know. It's just
Right.
crazy shit. So I worked till midnight.
It's a Joe mind right
And
there.
I stayed up all night long trying to learn these songs. And so then I show up to Duffy's the next day.
How do you do, Joe?
And I go up to Joe and I'm like, "Hey, just so you know, there's only like 16 of those songs I'm stage confident
Right.
with." And Joe goes, "Oh, you didn't have to learn all those." He's like, "You could have just picked a couple. Those are just songs we play." And I was like, "Well, thank God."
Do you remember which ones like either you liked or like really stuck out?
My favorite song when I joined Hops was Coal Mines and Tupelo County.
Yes.
I love that tune, man.
Oh, it was such a weird like bluegrass, jazz, hybrid,
Yeah.
country.
And even with the
And then we did
giant
animal
steps.
noises during the
Yeah.
intro.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's a good recording of that anywhere online.
I don't know. And
Not
well,
yet.
and even I think when I joined, Stefan would just do like the cock.
Yeah.
He just did the
He
bird
wouldn't even
sound.
play it.
But then like once I saw that that's what happened in that moment, like I always thought I had like a good goat sound. So
I could play the goat part.
So I started doing different animal sounds, and then that like got all of us to be like, okay, how can I
how
can I
goofy
surprise
can we make
the
this?
guys this time, you know,
Right.
and just you know, you
Yeah.
just find different animal sounds that you could do.
I mean, that's always been one of my like core fundamentals is like trying to make other musicians on stage laugh while we're playing. There's like no better feeling than like you get the smile from your bandmate and it's like, yeah, we're in this together. You know, we're not taking it too seriously.
I surprised you, you know, that like, because even, you know, a lot of people get into playing jazz or playing in a jam band or something because you're like, oh, I'm not playing exactly, you know, I'm not playing the guitar solo exactly how it goes on the album, or I have this freedom. But then even in that, you still accidentally fall into these
I hit a wrong note. Oh,
you know?
God.
So when you know each other well enough that, you know, not even in an area where it's like, this is the freeform jam section, like in an area where you think you know exactly what's coming. And then somebody throws out this random thing that you're like, what the hell?
There was an era, like probably a year after you joined the band, where like me and you would try to force in some other song into every single song. Like, and then Stefan's like, stop doing that.
Quit.
It's got to be confusing to some people too, you know, in the band. Where you start playing another song and they're like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah, or let alone the audience. He's like, are they playing Michael Jackson now? What is this?
Right, and the problem is that there is a like unattainable, like you want to chase it satisfaction that happens when you do pull that off. But then when you don't pull it off and it fucking fails, it's also
it's
the
a train
worst
wreck.
feeling. So it's really, you know, it's a drug. It's like riding that high of like, this could go awful or it could be the best thing that happens all night long.
Yeah, and the problem is like if you just do it, you're like, if the band just stays here, I can pull this off. But then everyone else hears you and they're going to start following
something and then they start playing that song.
Yeah. So like, you know, not everybody has that same mindset too.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I would always do it like there'd be whatever song, if it's like 1 to 4 in A or something, I'd tease Jessica by the Allman Brothers. But if it's like a slow funk thing, it, you know, the way it sits over it, people are just naturally going to want to start speeding up, and then you've ruined the song you're in.
Or if you just tease because it's a 1 to 4 and you tease that Jessica thing, but then somebody goes to the da na na na, you know, to the
like,
G.
all right, now we don't know where we are.
Yeah. We're not actually going to play this whole song, obviously.
Yep, good times.
Yeah, what an existence.
Yep.
But really, that like that's the kind of shit that keeps you sane when you're doing it. Is
having a good time and trying to keep it interesting. I would imagine is
a band where you are. This is exactly how the song goes. That. Naturally, in a band setting, you got a bunch of people that have their own artistic vision and they have their own personalities and stuff. It's very easy to like get fed up with each other and get pissed off about something. And then when you're doing the same thing every night, it immediately blows up. You know, like a fucking Guns N' Roses or something where it's like, this is exactly how it goes.
And I feel like that works. That works in a lot of bands, you know, like some musicians.
There's a dynamic, you know, like between Slash and Axl, like they had that dynamic, and probably like
but it's only going to get to that point where eventually you're like, I can't do this at all anymore.
It's a fire and ice. You can only do it for so long before it blows up.
We would have those days where it's like, I fucking hate him and he hates me, but then one of us would make the other one laugh with that like surprising thing, and that like squashes that tension.
Oh, that's why I love you.
Right. Yeah. For
make up musical sex.
Right. Oh, dude, like honestly the gigs after a band fight were always like our best gigs.
Oh yeah,
it's like because makeup gig,
right?
Almost.
Well, like
makeup, man, he's on tonight. He must be pissed off.
Like makeup sex is like the best sex, or like having a good gig after fighting with your band, because it's very much like a relationship or a marriage, but between multiple people and multiple people that aren't actually sexually attracted to each other. A great gig after a band fight is like, it's like hate fucking each other on stage.
Well, yeah.
Like, oh, I'm gonna teach you a lesson.
I'm gonna nail this one.
Like, that was the best. Oh my god! Thank you for really giving it to me with that solo or something. You know.
Yeah, we just started making up things to get mad about before the gig, so we'd play better.
Right. Totally.
So now, obviously, you're doing the Joe Marcinek Band thing, which, from my perspective, is a really great concept in itself is, you play different cities, and whoever's available, you book, and
different lineup almost every night.
Different lineup, every night. And then at the same time too, it's not like you guys practice together.
No.
So you never really know what you're going to get.
And that was kind of the core built into the band, and maybe like some weird way of like the ashes of the end of Fresh Hops for me was like, we all kind of had our different ideas about it. And so it was like fighting for control in a situation where I can't be the leader because I'm the only chord player. So I like had to play a supportive role.
Well, and also like when you're in a band and you travel that much together and you're together that much and you've written together that much and all that, like it gets to the point where it's like a brother relationship where it, in a more relaxed, or, maybe this is an associate of mine. They'll do something that'll piss me off and I'll be like, well, don't say anything about that, because why? But when you're that close, it's almost like you're too quick to be like, what the fuck? And like fight with each other. You know? So coming out of that where everyone's going to call me on my bullshit instantly and I'm going to call everyone on their bullshit instantly, when you can go into a situation where there's that degree of separation of, okay, I hired you, you're a subcontractor,
You know exactly what you're getting into.
Right.
And it's also like the best and the worst thing, because then you do find a lineup where you're like, oh, this is amazing. We're probably only going to be able to do this once or twice a year because everyone plays in different bands.
Right.
But I just kind of build the like spontaneous nature into it. And so like usually if we do a rehearsal or like really try to work something out, then during the gig you're trying to recreate what you did in the rehearsal, as opposed to letting that magic happen in the moment.
Yeah, more organically.
Right. And so a lot of the songs after Fresh Hops, in Fresh Hops, the songs were really composed and 13, 15 minutes long with parts that you had to play.
Goat sounds and all sorts of crazy
important stuff. And so like a lot of my early Joe Marcinek Band stuff was like 1 or 2 chord vamps where we could just stretch out. And so it made it easier. You didn't really have to rehearse. As long as you knew like the one little change, you're going to be good to go.
Right.
And then it was just fun seeing everyone's interpretation of it. Like Tony Hall will play it way differently than Janice would, or whoever it is. It's to be the same song, but it's different feels and different ideas about it.
It's the Frank Zappa idea of Frank Zappa. All of his musicians were the best goddamn musicians, and every single lineup you were like, oh, this is it. This guy figured it out. And even with him, he could have kept those people on. He could have kept that lineup. Oh, yeah. All those people desperately wanted to play with him, but he was like, I've seen what this lineup could do.
Yeah, scratch that itch.
Surprise. Now, he would get to a point where he was like, all right, Steve Vai, I'll see you later. Like as if he found a better guitar player or something. When in reality, it was just like, no, I've heard how you will play these songs. Mm-hmm. Now I want to hear how fucking, Ray White's going to do it or whatever.
Oh, yeah. And that's the cool part about traveling, too, is if you have a band, it's really hard, to travel just because you got a lot of guys, where to stay, how you're traveling in a van.
Or nearby.
Right.
And when you're in a band together and you owe each other that kind of camaraderie, you could be like, well, I got to make sure this guy fucking eats lunch today or something. But when you just hire a guy for a gig, you're like, you didn't eat lunch? That's not my fucking problem, dude. Right. I hired you to show up at this time in this place.
Yeah. And so it makes it a lot easier to travel that way, because just me, I'll go down to Florida this weekend and then can go to Colorado next weekend, and it frees it up. It's less expensive. And then also using the different bands helps promote. Like how many times do we go to a new town? No one knows who you are. So it's like you got to start from the ground level every single time, where if you can use someone's name.
That one local hero or something that you get in the band.
Right.
So you're kind of cheating, life hacking the system a little bit.
Whether it's Jason Hahn from Cheese or, somebody locally who's a prominent musician and well known, kind of
Ian Gill
allows you to... Right,
Andy
Ian Gill. It allows you to kind of draw that crowd.
Yeah, and it's really fun when you can do both. You can take people who are just local guys who've never, traveled outside of the scene, and then bring them with George Porter or whoever it is.
That you're forcing networking for those other musicians too. Like
whether you like it or not, you're gonna play with this, really great musician. So buckle up, bud.
Right. I facilitated for this guy who, has only played in like the Florida Panhandle to play with like Sean Lawrence from Snarky Puppy. Like, damn.
And it's cool because like we did right before Bernie Royale passed away, we did a couple of shows with him, and each time I think I had another keyboardist, because they would usually backline or something and then say, hey, come jam, or even play the whole set. So it was like Joe Hedinga did the first one, then we had Scott Jackson, and you could just see the look on their face that they're playing next to one of their heroes.
Right.
And just to have those moments, it's just really special.
And for those listening who don't know who Bernie Worrell is,
close this podcast right now, because what the hell?
That was going to be one of my ridiculous stories that you were asking about, like different moments. And so the first time I got to play with Bernie, we were supposed to do 2 nights. It was 2 festivals, one in Michigan and one in Illinois. So we did the first one. I had like 10 people on stage. Real quick
is also one of my stories that I tell people. The Kankakee Festival.
Yeah. Oh, because we played it earlier.
Well.
Right? We did a set, then I think there was a
Fresh
short
Hops
break.
Played a set, and then Old Shoe played after us. And then on a separate stage, Joe Marcinek Band was supposed to play with Bernie, and you had asked me because for a vocalist.
Right.
You were like, hey, will you come up and sing Take Me to the River and I think Burning Down the House?
Probably, yeah.
And I was like, sing
with Bernie?
Talking Head songs, and then with Bernie from fucking P-Funk and from Talking Heads. Like, already I was just stoked that I got to meet Bernie while I was there, and then Joe's like, come up and sing. I was like, hell yes.
Yeah, because that's how we did it the night before. It was like Jake Willis came, and Jake and some of the people from the Diggity, and there was horn players from Indy, so it was like this big kind of collaboration thing. So we had done the first night, and it was so awesome, like playing with Bernie, and he was the coolest guy. So we were just like all day long looking forward to this next one. And then it was like, what would you say? Just like someone's backyard, basically.
Yeah. But they obviously had invested in it and
it was their second or third festival. And so right after Old Shoes set, it starts to rain and lightning strikes by the stage.
There was a tree right next to the other stage that Joe Marcinek Band was going to play on. Lightning struck the tree, and then it like jumped from the tree to the stage, and there was like a power line going around the stage with outlets along it.
Yeah, outside.
And when the lightning hit, like sparks shot out of all the outlets. Like
no way.
It looked like a stage prop.
Like it was part of the show.
Pyrotechnics just went off during not the show. So then the set got canceled.
Well, it fried all the outside power out. But for some reason, their home still had power, and then he had a garage with like a jam room built into it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they were doing late nights in there or not, but it was perfectly set up. You couldn't fit the whole festival. It wasn't a big festival at like 500 people.
But you could have fit
you could have fit a good amount of people in this room.
Yeah.
And so it was like, hey man, we got like a legend here in Bernie Worrell. It would be a shame not to do some kind of music here. You've got everything set up. Like, let's do this. And this guy was just the complete biggest asshole I've ever met in my life. And like already I'm losing probably $4,000 just to make this gig happen, but I'm paying Bernie out of my pocket, so I don't care. And he like cut the pay in half, which was already not enough to pay Bernie, but still it's like, do you realize what we have here?
And there's no better situation to be like act of God.
Right. Yeah, but like more than the money, we just wanted to do the set.
Yeah,
right.
Like you're saying, a chance to play with Bernie Worrell is like life-changing experience.
Well, and exactly, like when that happened, I was like, motherfuck, God was like, no, you don't get
sorry, boy.
Sing with Bernie. Well, and then
it's not your time.
I don't think you were around for this, but after that happened, there's this storm going on, and we're basically sitting in a field in Kankakee, and Bernie says to me, he's like, yeah, one time I got caught in a tornado at a festival in Georgia with Parliament, and it's night and there's this crazy storm going on. He goes, you know what's the scariest part about a tornado at night? And I was like, no, what?
Never been in a tornado, Bernie.
And he goes, you don't see it coming. And I was like, thanks, dude. Like, way to just put the fucking fear in me right now. You know, as if I wasn't already on edge enough.
Good times.
And I if I remember correctly, the last recording that Bernie did was with you too, right?
Yeah, so that was 2015. We did a couple of shows, and then right at the end of 15 into 16, we did a New Year's run. And right before is when we found out he had the stage 3 lung cancer. So it was, and I remember at the time Judy was like, we can't announce it, you can't tell anyone. I'm like, I want to promote these shows with Bernie and he's sick. Like, let me promote it. But obviously that's so weird just to even think about it.
Right.
So the last night is when they finally...
Like, I'm not trying to capitalize on the fact that these are his last shows, but I want
people to experience
to have the
this.
opportunity to see him if they want, and I want his last shows to be memorable for him and, you know, not play to no one or something.
Which the one night, the New Year's Day one, there was like 20 people there. Obviously for us, it was the most amazing thing just to hang with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and then that weekend he was like, oh, I'd love to record with you. But by the time we actually went to record, his health had, you know, gone down quite a bit. So he couldn't travel. And we recorded in Denver for that one. So he was able to go to a studio near his house and cut the melody for what would become the song Bernie. And yeah, he passed away like a month later.
Jeez.
And it's like when you find that news out, it just like blows your mind of like, just the fact of having Bernie record with me is mind blowing enough, but to be his last ever recording for, you know, the guy who basically wrote the language of the synthesizer and so much more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wild stuff.
For sure.
And then it puts you in the situation to be like, is it weird if I'm like, this is the last recording of, you know, like not.
Yeah, I'm not wearing that
I'm
t-shirt.
Not trying to capitalize on that, but people should be able to hear this and appreciate it, you know.
Yeah,
like,
it's not like a bragging thing. It's,
no.
it's
you know,
more of like.
And 100%, if we were musicians on the level of we had a record deal or we were being promoted, the record company would take that opportunity
they would be,
to be like, the last recording with Bernie Worrell ever, you know. And right or wrong, at least it's not on you that is happening. You could be like, oh, that's kind of weird and morbid that they were so
distance yourself
gung-ho
from it.
on it, you know. But like when you're just
I'm the only one who knows about it.
It's like, okay, well, I'm really not trying to ride on the coattails of this tragedy of a hero being lost, but he was my hero and he played on my shit, so I'm already stoked about that. And then it's the last recording. Like, people need to hear this. People need to.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, and you know that's kind of part of the idea of this podcast of like the conundrums that you run into at like the indie local or, you know, just struggling level of musician, you know, that you're like, well, shit, I have this like amazing magical thing, but if I really push it too much, it looks gross for some reason, you know.
Yeah,
like, well,
it could be taken the wrong way.
What the hell, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the whole like just life as a musician is so backwards and upside down that it's hard to relate to a normal life because, you know, most nights you're working till 2 a.m. and then, you know, by the time you go home, you're still fired up because it's like you played a football game or something. You're so full of adrenaline. How are you supposed to just fall asleep right away?
And in my mind, that's kind of what this podcast is about, is, you know, talking about things that don't normally get talked about among musicians and people that don't understand.
Even the fact that we have to look at it in that way of being like, it's hard to relate to a normal life. This is a normal life for me. This is the only thing that makes sense for me or you to do. Oh, yeah. This is the thing I'm best at. This is the thing that other people appreciate about me the most. Mm-hmm. But if you go to rent an apartment or something, and they're like, "What do you do for a living?" And you're like, "I'm a musician." They're like,
Nope.
"No, but yeah, what's your real job?"
Yeah,
Like, dude, what the,
What do you do
But then
for real?
then we get into the point where we're like, this isn't a normal life,
Yeah, you start questioning it.
It's like society gaslights us as musicians to be like, this is weird and wrong.
Yeah, what you're doing is not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had another good story. I was thinking of one of our venues we always played at in Denver. I'll remain nameless, but you obviously know which one. So I was playing there. I had Marty Salmon with me, and I think like Dave Watts from the Motet, and it was like a weird collection. But it was just highly unorganized. There was 4 other bands playing. So we don't get a sound check, and we're the last band to play, so I don't think we started till 11. Full house. We go to line check, which is basically like real quick, try to get the sound together before you start playing. And nothing's working. Like if there's 5 microphones on stage, one of them's working. Yeah. So the sound guy is the only guy in there working. So he's coming from the board, which is like 20 feet away. All right, this one's not working. Yeah. Fix the cable, goes back out to the board. So like, I don't know, half an hour's gone by and we haven't gotten anywhere. So then I'm like, I realized if I don't help this guy, I'm not going to play tonight. And I'm invested because I'm paying the guys in the band who are coming out here.
You're paying the sound guy that's doing it.
Room full of people, and I'm running cables for my show as the headliner. It's like, no one would understand what this means.
Right. Yeah. And even as, you're already punching up. You're already fighting uphill to like look cool as a local musician. And then you have to... you're loading in your own gear and shit. Like we used to always make the joke in Hops that like we should all just get like fake mustaches and wigs for when we like load in our gear and like set it up so it looks like we have roadies. So it's not us. Because it is, like I have to, the shirt that I'm actually going to wear for the gig, I can't put it on until right before the gig because I'm going to get all sweaty and shit carrying in my amp and stuff before the show. Like the fact that you have to worry about that kind of silly shit is kind of like,
it's definitely not something that as a an attendee or a music listener doesn't normally think about.
No, and it just makes you like really appreciate it. And I think the reason you do it is because you love it. Because if you didn't really love it, you're not going to put up with all this crazy stuff. So you find the most passionate people,
and you're not going to put up with it. But also, you're not going to care if you load in the shirt that you're going to play in, and it's all fucking sweaty and shit. Yeah. Those people that like nobody's going to notice that my shirt's all sweaty when I get on stage, but I'm still like, I've got to present myself in the best way. It's like, oh shit, you really mean this? Oh, what a world.
Yeah, we could just rap on all night.
I know. Well,
this
that
will be
being said,
part 1.
Yeah, definitely. Joe is between your experience and our history together. We'll absolutely have to have you back. But we're gonna have you play some music.
So I don't know if this is legal or not, but it'd be great if you would join me on one, Ian. I don't know. What do you think, Brandon? Do you think you'll do it?
Well, did you bring your guitar?
You know what? I think I might have one. I'll go check the tour bus, but I'm pretty sure I do have one. So give us a moment to set up, and then we'll have a live music from Joe Marcinek and Andy Dill.
I think we'll do a tune of mine called Perception of Logic, and then maybe a tune we used to play in the Hops, the Hop Bop.
Sounds like a deal.
1, 2, 3, boom.
on in.
That was killer, honestly.
That was pretty all right.
I like hearing the two you play together because you're predominantly a bass player.
Yeah.
Joe obviously guitar, plays keys. Hearing you on an acoustic and him on an acoustic, it was nice.
No, yeah, I mean we've never done either of those songs as two acoustic guitar, a duet. So yeah, it was fun. Mm-hmm. That being said, thank you to Joe Marcinek, our local musician, musical guest of the week. Thank you to, I guess, our not so anonymous guest, Mr. Mark Adrian,
Hell yeah.
Getting that off his chest. We've all made less than savory decisions. But that's it's kind of the life of a bozo, and it's especially just an artist that like not even be like, oh, we think about it deeper. That you are just a person.
You put thought into it.
So you're putting extra thought into how do I do something clever and deep, and then you do something like that you're like night and day, yin and yang. Like this is brilliant, and then it's so your intentions are so pure that you get that far down the pipeline that you're like, oops, why, how did I not see that?
Yeah, I feel like
if it was really from the wrong place, if it was to do something shocking, or they would have not done it because they'd been like, the backlash is going to be too much. You have to be more subtle with your hate or something. The fact that they actually went all the way through and played the song, like you had to not realize. There's no way. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I feel like as a musician, it's a little different, but me just as a person, I'm like I'll try to make something easier, and then it gets all fucked.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm trying to, like, I have the purest intentions over something, and then it does not work out.
Right. It's like making a joke that you just made it to the worst possible person.
Yeah.
You know, like you just, oh man, that's a nice car. It looks like it cost you an arm and a leg. And they're like, my brother's missing his arm and his leg.
Right.
Why would you say that to me? And you're like, oh, wait. Like, how could I have, you know?
It's just like that Mitch Hedberg joke where he's like, I don't like to wave to people that I don't know because you don't know if they don't have an arm. You're like, hey, look what I got.
Right. Let me do something that I didn't have to do that could make me feel awful about myself.
Right.
You know, but that's the life of...
probably just anybody.
Yeah. Definitely extroverts. I think about that a lot, that having anxiety and being extroverted is such a horrible combination. Mm-hmm. Because I want to be like, hey, let me make this person laugh or happy. And they're like, I just broke up with my girlfriend, dude. Why are you talking to me? I'm like, I don't know.
Why are you making relationship jokes right now?
I shouldn't. I have no reason to be talking to you, I guess.
Don't you ever get tired, though? You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then, but you can't when you are that person. Because then when somebody else does something that you're like, why are you doing this to me? They're like, hey, man. I see you, you know. You did this, and you did this, and you did this. And I'm, you know.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. I know. Well... what are you going to do? I guess I'm just going to keep being like this every goddamn day for the rest of my life. You know? And that's why some people like us, most people don't. Have a good one, everybody.